My chosen case study country is Jamaica. Throughout this presentation, I will be discussing why I chose Jamaica and three of the island's main pressing issues in today's world. This includes healthcare, popular culture stemming from social movements in the past, and globalization and tourism. I will conclude with a reflection on what I have learned and how it has impacted my perspective of the country. I was born and raised in Kingston, Jamaica, where my family currently resides. Situated in the Caribbean Sea, Jamaica is home to the most beautiful beaches, stunning natural attractions, and some of the world's most famous and iconic men and women. Jamaica has a very rich and diverse history, coloring our past. My family is an example of what Jamaica's national motto, "Out of many one people," on the coat of arms means. In addition to the African lineage in my family, I also come from a long line of European ancestors from Scotland, England, Germany, and Ireland. My diverse background is a prime example of what the Jamaican population is made out of. As it was written in the history books, Jamaica was first colonized by the Taino tribes before the arrival of Christopher Columbus on May 5, 1494, during his second voyage. However, it was on his fourth voyage he became shipwrecked by a storm that stranded him on the island for a year. This planted the seeds for a rich history of conquest, colonization, and slavery that Jamaica holds. Hence, Jamaica became a hub for slavery, as shortly after, the Tainos were enslaved and began suffering at the hands of the Spaniards. This age of discovery led to what was known as the virgin soil epidemic. The Tainos were completely defenseless to the diseases introduced to the Americas by the European colonizers, including smallpox, malaria, yellow fever, and many other new strains of viruses that ravaged their unfamiliar bodies. This outbreak of disease nearly extinct the entire native population by the 1600s. However, it was not only diseases that killed the natives, but also overworking, famine, and abuse from slavery. The Spanish colonists also committed sexual violence towards the Taino women, resulting in mestizo children. Not only were the Taino slaves, but Jamaica was a part of the slave trade triangle, shipping slaves from Africa. African slaves suffered at the hands of the Europeans for years until its abolition on August 1, 1834. This later led to the nation's independence on August 6, 1962. As for the country's current standing, healthcare has become a huge issue that many are unaware of. The availability and quality of healthcare and their institutions has continuously posed as a concern over the years. Even though healthcare is free at public institutions to citizens in Jamaica, there are great costs that come along with this theoretical blessing. Doctors blame the lack of resources for the poor healthcare experienced across the island. There have been reports of numerous occasions when surgeries have to be postponed or cancelled due to shortages of equipment or malfunctioning equipment. The medical buildings themselves are poorly kept and maintained. For example, the elevator rarely works at Kingston Public Hospital, or KPH, so surgeries have to be postponed until it is fixed. There is also an insufficient supply of surgery equipment and gowns and medication, and sometimes there are no antibiotics, so patients have to be asked to buy their own and take it to the hospital. In 1851, Jamaica suffered from a poliomyelitis epidemic and cholera outbreak that took the lives of approximately 400,000 people, 1/10 of the island's population at the time. They have also experienced spurs of malaria outbreaks, which is transferred by mosquitoes. These infectious insects breed in stagnant water, and due to the lack of drainage and thus flooding on the island, this is very prevalent. The chikungunya virus and Zika virus are also very prevalent. Jamaicans believe in traditional remedies, however, especially herbal medicine, the bush, and spiritual healing. Jamaicans believe the most purely African religious and healing traditions, as well as the strongest obeah, are carried on by Maroons, as well as other African people in eastern Jamaica, especially in contemporary Jamaica. As seen in the pictures shown, Jamaica receives a lot of volunteers throughout the year to help with medical staffing, financing, and simply volunteer time. I have been lucky enough to meet some of the volunteers that travel from around the world and assist them in any way possible. They help in fields such as physical therapy, dentistry, orphanage, and elderly homes. Although debatable, many consider reggae to be a social movement within Jamaica. The country gained independence from Britain in 1962, with citizens predominantly of African descent. Music has always been a part of Jamaica's history. It was considered a medium for expounding on cultural values, norms, and social issues. Jamaica is widely known and authentically characterized by its friendly people, mellow vibe, flavored cuisine, and being home to the world's fastest man. However, what made this little island as influential as it is today was the global recognition of reggae made possible by Bob Marley. One love, one heart. Words that have become infamous and transcendent across the world amongst different countries, religions, races, and minds. Jamaica is home to reggae and its iconic creator Bob Marley. Popular culture can be defined as culture based on the tastes of ordinary people rather than an educated elite. Reggae has always been a part of Jamaica's heart and soul. It evolved in the late 1960s from ska and other local developments like calypso. Most reggae music lyrics are influenced by Rastafarian ideas. Reggae is a staple in Jamaica culture. As for Rastafarianism, it is an Afrocentric religious and social movement that has based itself in Jamaica. Rastas sought to provide a voice for the poor blacks in Jamaica by encouraging resistance to oppressive societal structures. Many symbols of the Rastafarian arise from their interpretation of the Bible and the ideal of Ethiopia as Zion, the Promised Land. Reggae has influenced societies throughout the world, contributing to the development of new countercultural movements, particularly in Europe, in the USA, and Africa. A quote by Jeremy Krobo-Dagnini. The next topic I will be discussing is globalization and tourism, the key to Jamaica's growing economy. Jamaica is not only known as the birthplace of reggae music, but also for its tropical array of attractions that captivate approximately 30 million visitors. The land of wood and water relies heavily on its tourism industry, especially ecotourism. The Caribbean Tourism Organization reported that in 2016, there was continued demand for travel to the region and a record 29.3 million visitors came to enjoy the unequaled and diverse experiences the Caribbean had to offer. This is a statistic from the annual travel statistics in 2016 published through the Jamaica Tourist Board. The number one tourist attraction in Jamaica is Dunn's River Falls, cascading 600 feet down to the Caribbean Sea, as described by Green Global Travel, with other unique experiences including rafting down the Martha Bay River, scuba diving with the marine life in the natural habitat, enjoying the white sand beaches and our diverse mountainous landscapes. Tourism generates high levels of foreign exchange to the island and more jobs for Jamaicans who are willing and able to work. This often comes along with a more reliable and larger wage. Thousands of Jamaicans are employed either directly or indirectly through the tourism industry. We are very strong in the tourism industry in terms of cruise ships. This hires a lot of Jamaicans who are willing and able to work. It provides a source of income for low-income families, especially when it comes to working on the port or constructing these new locations. I truly enjoyed learning more about Jamaica and being able to reflect on its successes throughout the years. Despite popular misconception, Jamaica is not solely a land denoted to reggae and weed, but it encompasses rich cultural diversity that reflects our vision of a multicultural nation rooted in love, community, and spirituality. I want to be able to educate people about Jamaica and debunk the stereotypical views that many have of the country. This presentation has impacted my perspective of the country in many ways, and I hope it has for others as well.